What's up guys, B-Sauce here, and today we're going to be doing a torture test on this Tacoma door that I had Linexed. So I'm going to be throwing the kitchen sink at this thing. I mean, not really a kitchen sink, but we're going to start out with everyday contaminants like hard water stains, salt, sap, bird poop. Then we're going to step up to maybe spray paint, some chemicals, more vandalism type of stuff. And then after that, we're going to see how well this thing holds up with some different caliber firearms. So this should be pretty fun. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, so why am I making this video? See my black Tacoma back there? I love to get that thing dirty. I also used to be a detailer, so I love to keep it clean. The problem is this clear coat is super thin on this truck. So I've already polished it so many times, I'm starting to burn through the clear coat a bit. So I've got three options. I can either repaint it, wrap it, or coat the whole thing in Linex. And the reason I'm attracted to Linex is because where I live in North Idaho, there's so many contaminants here, it's so hard to keep your truck clean. And the idea of just being able to pressure wash or something without worrying about water spots, bird poop, sap, scratching it back in the woods, sounds really cool. But I'm gonna test this out first to see if anything is gonna stain on this, because Linex is permanent. If I get hard water stains or sap or bird poop and it won't come out, well, that's a deal breaker for me. So that's basically the reason I'm making this video. All right, so here she is. 2009 Toyota Tacoma door. Got it for 30 bucks instead of 40. Guy took the window out, fair deal. And it's got some damage in the front, but most of it's in pretty good shape for doing the testing. That's all I cared about. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take the emblem off. This decal, by the way, is put on backwards. For anyone watching this, stars and stripes go forward, not backwards, not retreating. So good job, whoever did this. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with a little bit of sandpaper. You're gonna let them tape it off. They're better at doing that than I am, but I'm gonna go ahead and help them out so it doesn't cost me as much. Then I'll go ahead and drop it off at Linex, and then we can start having some fun. Ready to go to Linex. All right, we're at Linex in Hayden, Idaho here. I'm gonna go ahead and drop this door off. I always call in advance when I'm recording just to be cool and ask them if it's all right. This is one of the first places they actually told me no. They didn't want me recording at all inside the building or any of the spraying, which is a bummer. I was really hoping to get some shots of them spraying it, but it is what it is, so let's go ahead and drop this thing off. All right, she's all done, door's coated, ready for some testing. So first up, we're gonna try some hard water stains. That black truck is a bitch. So we're gonna see how water dries. Okay, I've been letting this thing bake in the sun for about half an hour now, and I'm pretty surprised. You cannot even see any of the water stains anywhere. Now if you get it really, really close and you look down at an angle, you can kind of see some of them, but I mean, you have to be at the perfect angle to be able to see them. So you can see in all these different angles, it's probably not going to show up, but even where the water was pooling up on top here, I mean, there is no evidence of water stains whatsoever, and that is pretty cool. So on to the next test, dirt and mud. All right, it's been about 30-40 minutes. The mud is dry, baked on. It's about 85 degrees outside right now, pretty sunny. Let's see how this comes off. Nothing, just a little bit of water. So this is perfect for off-roaders. Next up, let's try some salt water. I'm gonna try to get some of that concentrated stuff to stick on there. There we go. Okay, that is definitely baked on there, good. This would be the equivalent to driving in the wintertime and not cleaning your car. I mean, that salt is on there. Let's see how this comes off. Man, nothing. Not even the salt. I guess it's time to try some eggs. Alright, that egg is baked on there. Gross. It's all dry. Eggs are no match for the Line-X. Alright, now it's time for some bird poop. I was trying to figure out how to get bird poop on here, and I figured the best way to do it, I took some multi-grain bread. It has a bunch of seeds in it. So I'm just gonna sprinkle all this crap over here, and you can, I don't know if you can hear it, but there's definitely a lot of birds out today, so I'm hoping they'll come feast on the seed and leave a mess behind. So I'm having a hard time getting the birds to poop on the door, so I'm still trying to figure that out. Also trying to figure out how to get sap onto the door. I might have to go find a pine tree that's leaking, kind of collect it and just smear it on. In the meantime, I'm gonna play with some fast food items, more vandalism type of stuff. Right, first up, we got some root beer. Next, we got some ketchup. And last, we got some barbecue sauce. It's been an hour, actually a little over an hour now. So that's what the soda was. I'm not even gonna touch that, the ketchup. And this is the barbecue sauce. You can see really fingerprints in it, but it's fairly dry. And it's about 84 degrees outside, so it's pretty warm and sunny. So I'm gonna go ahead and wash this off. Let's see how this does. In case you're all wondering, I'm sure a few of you will ask, this is the pressure washer I'm using. It's probably not the highest. I've never had a pressure washer before, but 1900 PSI. It's enough to cut skin. Don't ask me how I know that. It's been about 30 minutes. Just let it air dry this time. I am starting to see some signs of water stains. I don't know if those are showing up in the video, but there are some here. So I might do a little bit more experimenting with that. But here are the results. So soda, nothing. Ketchup, nothing. And barbecue sauce, all nothing. Time to get a little more aggressive here. First, we're gonna throw some two-stroke gas on here. I didn't have any brake fluid, but this hydraulic clutch fluid, I'm pretty sure this is just as bad as brake fluid. Last but not least, I'm gonna go with some spray paint. It's been about 40 minutes to 50 minutes. Spray paint, hydraulic fluid, and gasoline. So let's see how this holds up. End result, there's pretty much no mark from the gas at all, even from the side. The hydraulic fluid, I can see a little bit of a drip mark if you get in the right angle, but you can see for the most part, can't really see anything. Spray paint, I'm actually surprised. I thought the spray paint was gonna come off with the pressure, but it stuck on there pretty good. It really didn't take any spray paint off, so spray paint is a match for Line-X. There's probably a way to get it off, I'm sure. Maybe I'll try some acetone or some brake cleaner or something, but for now, didn't do anything with the 1900 PSI. All right, I found some sap. Didn't have to go very far. That should be plenty. I think that's a pretty good amount. It is about 92 degrees today, and this is hot as hell too, so this is really going to simulate having black paint, getting sap on it, and trying to remove it. So I'm gonna wait until the end of the day and see how much it dries up. What I really want is for this to actually dry and dehydrate, kind of like it does on your car. Typically by the time you find sap on your car, it's already dry, and kind of flake it off with your fingernail. So I'm gonna wait until this actually dries up, solidifies, and then we'll see how it comes off. And this is my second attempt at getting birds to go poo on here. If this doesn't attract birds, I'm just gonna have to give up on the bird poop thing for now. But I get bird poop on my truck all the time, so I really want to test the bird poop out and see how it holds up. All right, guys, I've left this door out for 5 days now, and the birds have been eating it. You can kind of see some empty spots here. They've been picking it away, and there's seeds on the ground. They just won't shit on this. And funny enough, I got bird poop on my hood out there on my truck where there's no bird seed. Try so hard to get those damn birds to poop on that door, and they poop only on my truck. So I don't know, I'm gonna get birds to poop on this thing. I may have to scratch this idea, but I'm gonna try a couple other things in the meantime while I'm doing the other test. That sap has been drying for about 5 days now. So let's see what happens with just water first. I had to move this into the sun so you can actually see. That's where the sap is. I don't know if this is even showing up on the GoPro or not, but there's just a tiny bit of residue left there. So I'm gonna hit some goo remover real quick with a toothbrush, one more time with the pressure washer, and see if that gets everything. So that's where the sap was. You can actually still see the mark. I think it's showing up in the GoPro right now. It did leave a bit of a stain. The goo remover wasn't quite enough to get that off. So let me try some acetone. Okay, this time the acetone did it. The sap was right here. There's absolutely no mark now. Cool. That really didn't take much either. So goo remover does not work. Acetone will take it right off, and it doesn't appear to have left any kind of mark from the acetone either. I decided to put some different colored spray paint onto this door. I realized that that dark red stuff was just way too hard to see. It actually got darker as it cured. So I put some gold stuff on here so it'd be really obvious. And obviously the pressure washer is not taking this off, so I'm gonna try some acetone first. Okay, I hit it with the pressure washer again, and it is still leaving some residue from the acetone. So what I'm gonna do is just take some wheel and tire cleaner, just some degreaser basically. I'm gonna hit it with this and see if this helps at all. It actually looks like the wheel cleaner did take the acetone off. There was white marks all down the side here. Still a little bit on the sides where I didn't scrub, so you can kind of see those white marks it was leaving. But it does appear that just a little bit of degreaser actually takes that right off. Now for this last section, and I'm gonna put some paint stripper on, and I'm actually gonna use some aircraft stripper. Normally, I would say these gloves are not gonna cut it if you're using this stuff. I usually use chemical resistant, real thick rubber gloves, but I'm just gonna do a small section. So just a word of advice, this stuff will burn through these rubber gloves if you use them long enough. So if you are gonna use these gloves, make sure it's a small job. That's been baking on for about an hour now, and I'm actually surprised where it was pulled up on top on the Line-X by itself. I was expecting this to be all bubbled off and peeling off, but It's not as bad as it looks, so let me hit it with the pressure washer and see what comes off. All dried up, and there is no residue from the acetone whatsoever. After I hit it with a little bit of that degreaser wheel cleaner, that didn't leave anything. It all came off the bottom as well. I got the shine back, and the paint stripper didn't really do much. That one I'm probably the most surprised of so far. I mean, I really had it pulled up in the corners here, and it got soft for a little bit, but it's back to its normal texture again. Shit, I mean, paint stripper is really not even a match for Line-X. Now I'm gonna simulate some hailstones. So I figured an ice cube is a decent sized hailstone. As expected, zero damage from the hailstones or ice cubes. No match for the Line-X. Next, we're doing a stick test. So if you're going down a trail and there's a lot of bushes on the side and you gotta push your way through the trail, this is how you get pinstripes all over your car. All you need to take these off, just any kind of brush. No scratching whatsoever. Now it's time to test some key marks. Now I have seen a couple other YouTube videos of guys doing this, and they really don't even try to leave a key mark because the whole car is coated. They're trying to make it look good. They're not doing a torture test like I'm doing. So they basically just lightly scratch like this. In reality, if someone keys your car, they're gonna do it more like this. They're gonna walk past your car and so it's not even leaving any kind of mark that I can see. And this is a pretty sharp key too. Some of the car keys are kind of rounded. This is a sharp key, and I'm pressing pretty hard. And so far, I can't see any kind of marks. Maybe from this angle right here. But again, it may be one of those things where if you hit it with the brush, you might not be able to see it. Keys don't really do much to this Line-X at all. Now, I'm sure if I got really aggressive here, no, it's just still a lot harder than you'd think to leave a mark. It is leaving some scratches, but I mean, it's not indestructible shit, but it will protect you if someone just walks by and tries to key it. For the most part, it's not really gonna do anything to Line-X. Now I'll move on to a heat test. So I've got a heat gun strapped up to the side. I'm gonna set the timer and then measure the temperature and see how long it takes and at what temperature before this actually starts to fail. Starting to see a little bit of failure here. It's starting to bubble a little bit. All right, so at 2 minutes, the Line-X is starting to melt at about 570 degrees. After a full 5 minutes, in between 500 and 600-ish degrees. It just started to damage the Line-X, but it didn't even start to bubble off or actually fall apart. So driving through a forest fire, you're probably gonna be okay. Paint's probably not gonna melt. So before I really start to destroy this door, a few of you suggested I try a shopping cart at full speed to see if it leaves any scuffs or marks or if it dents or dings the metal. So let's see how Line-X holds up against a shopping cart. Left a little plastic scuff, but comes right off with your fingers. Zero damage to the Line-X. So all the plastic came off again. Where the metal hit down here, that actually did scratch the Line-X pretty good. So if the metal part of the shopping cart hits, it will cut through the Line-X. The plastic, no harm, no foul, but it did leave a little dent. I can feel it. I don't know if you can, I mean, it's really not even enough of a dent to see. If this was glossy black paint, I'm sure you'd see it, but you can feel it. It's a little indentation right here. So for the most part, no one's gonna be throwing a shopping cart that fast into your door. So you're probably safe in parking lots. All right, let's see how the Line-X holds up against this piece of wood I'm gonna throw at it. So driving on the road, sometimes you run over pallets, people drop wood out of the back of their car, can really jack up your paint. So let's see how this handles it. Just a little bit of dust. No visible scratches whatsoever. I didn't bring my brush with me, but this brush will clean all that stuff off in between. You can pretty much just rub everything out with your finger. No dents either. So now we're gonna play with some rocks. Small rocks and big rocks. This is about the size pebbles that usually come up and break your windshield and chip your paint. So on the surface, it looks like it did a lot of damage. But again, I wish I would have brought my brush, but all this rubs right off. All these marks are rubbing right off the paint. All right, time to step it up some bigger rocks. Now, normally you're not gonna have rocks like this hitting your paint, but we're doing a torture test. So let's see what happens with these big rocks against Line-X. So again, most of the marks you're seeing here can be rubbed out with the brush. I'll clean it up when I get home. There are no dents on this door other than that last big rock I threw. That one did leave a dent. Almost hit me in the head too. And here's the door. I cleaned it off with some degreaser and the pressure washer. And there is absolutely no evidence of any of those rocks hitting other than that small dent right there. It's the only one. Rocks are no match for Line-X, at least small ones. All right, guys, it's the day you've been waiting for. It's Weapons Day. We have a professional archer with us today to help with the Line-X test, Austin Eider. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be shooting today? So
I'll be shooting a 2022 V3X from Matthews. I'm shooting 65 pounds, 27.5 inch draw length, 85% let off. I'll be shooting around 285 pp per second for these arrows. These arrows are 402 grains and then 100 grain broadhead, so it's 502.5 grains. I just have a 3-figure configuration right now. Not much helix, just enough so it just gets that spin going.
Nice.
We'll be shooting at 40 yards and it should just go right through it.
So you think it's going to penetrate?
It'll go right through it.
All right, let's find out. What do you guys think? Let's find out.
Oh, damn.
Did it bounce?
Yeah.
All right, first result. I can't even see where it hit.
Oh.
Right there. I was aiming center mass.
Wow. There's really not even a mark on the Line-X. This is crazy. Round one of the bow and the broadhead tip did not even penetrate the Line-X. We were all three pretty surprised. So I was at 40 yards. We're gonna do 30 yards now. Well, let's see what happens.
Set off or?
We'll just shoot right here after.
Oh yeah.
At that reinforcement bar right there.
You just missed it.
Not a full penetration, but pretty damn close. Shot number two, just the head in.
That didn't hit any reinforcement.
No.
It will penetrate, but it won't go all the way through the Line-X. All right, now we're gonna try a 22 pea shooter. Results of the 22.
You see the little hits.
Little tiny. See the size of my thumbnail next to it. Barely anything with the 22, so the 22s just bounce right off this stuff. All right, the 22 didn't do shit, so we're gonna try a MP Shield 9mm. All right, 9mm. Where would we hit? We hit right there, hit there, I think hit there, somewhere else here. On the surface, it doesn't look like it did much, but it went right through all 4 shots. Time to try some hollow point 9mm. What are we shooting?
Hellcat. Springfield Hellcat, 9mm.
With hollow point?
Hollow point 124 grain.
All right, hollow point clean hole in the Line-X. We got another one down there. Blew straight through. So now that you guys saw what the 9mm did, the hollow point clearly tore a hole right through that thing. So now I'm gonna try a XD 40 cal. And here are the results from the 40. Clean holes, every shot. The back of this door is taking a beating. Now let's try some 40 caliber hollow points. .40 caliber hollow points, clean holes, really clean holes. Now it's time for some rifles. Next up, we got an AR-15 with a 223. .223 damage. It's going right through as well. All right, what are we shooting here?
Got a Sig MCX, 3.5, 4-inch barrel, suppressed. We're shooting subsonic or supersonic rounds, 135 grain.
All right, let's do it. All right, here are the results. Hit there, 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 there. And it definitely went through on all those holes as well. All right, next up, we got a 308. Quite a bit of force too. All right, time for the final test. 12 gauge shotgun with birdshot. .12 gauge shotgun. I hit there. I hit here. I hit here. It did not penetrate anywhere except for right here where there was already a bullet hole from the 308. And you could tell it's obviously dented the metal a little bit more than it looks like on the outside. But this Linex stuff is pretty damn tough. Time for the good stuff. Yeah. Hold it up. Yeah. Tannerite did the trick. That's the first thing. Lay it down all the way. That's the first thing to actually fully rip through and destroy this Linex. Broadhead still stuck in there. There you have it, folks. Linex door is pretty much dead. Now that we're done with the testing, I'm going to debunk 5 of the most common Linex myths I've been reading on the internet lately. So number 1 is weight. There's a lot of claims that this stuff can add anywhere from 300 to 500 pounds to your vehicle. It's actually about 85 to 90 pounds for a mid-sized truck like my Tacoma. And this is coming directly from Linex. The way they put it, it's like having a big cooler full of ice and beer in your truck weight-wise. Number 2, fading. The original Linex can and will fade. However, this stuff is Linex Premium. This stuff was actually designed for exterior paint jobs, and it has somewhat of a clear coat built into it to protect against UV rays. So this stuff actually won't fade. And I called Linex to confirm this, and I said, realistically, how long is this stuff going to last before I start to notice some kind of fading? And he said you really shouldn't notice any fading whatsoever, but if you do years down the road, they do have a process that they can spray a light coat of the Premium over the existing Linex and bring back the depth and the shine again. Number 3, cleaning. I've seen some claims that this stuff's incredibly hard to clean because the texture is so rough, and that couldn't be further from the truth. This stuff is incredibly easy to clean, and it's probably one of my favorite features about the Linex. All you need is a pressure washer, a brush, maybe some degreaser, and if you feel like drying your vehicle, a leaf blower is the best bet. Compared to paint, you need sponges, soap, clay bars, microfiber towels, waxes and sealants, polishers, compounds. I mean, you're going to save a lot of money by not buying all that detailing stuff, or you're going to save a lot of money by not paying someone to detail your vehicle. Number 4, heat. So there are some claims that the Linex will absorb more heat than traditional paint. There are also some claims that this stuff will trap heat in your engine bay and cause overheating issues. So I have a few friends that have coated their entire vehicles in Linex. They have had 0 issues with running hot or overheating. I also called Linex, and they've coated hundreds of vehicles. They said they have never heard of any overheating issues whatsoever. I did read quite a few of those on Jeep forums, so maybe that's just the Jeep thing. As far as the heat absorption goes, this is black Linex. I have jet black paint on my Tacoma, so let's go ahead and test something out real quick. 151 on the paint. $135 on the Line-X. So as you can see, the Line-X actually absorbs less heat than the black paint. So if you have black, dark charcoal, dark blue, you're not going to see any difference in heat absorption. Now, of course, if you have white, silver, blue, cement, quicksand, any of those light colors, obviously go into a darker color, you're going to see a little bit of a difference. But as far as the overheating issue, it's not a thing. It's just myths on the internet. Number 5, cost. There's a lot of misconceptions in regards to how much this actually costs to coat your entire vehicle. Some people saying it costs a lot more than a paint job. The reality is it costs about the same as a quality paint job or the same as a high quality wrap. Now that might depend on where you live. I'm in North Idaho. Wraps are about $3,500 to $5,000 depending on the quality. I know if you live in Southern California or some of the bigger cities, there are some places that do it much cheaper. But as a good comparison, it's about the same as a quality paint job. So Line-X quoted me for my Tacoma about $3,500 to $4,000 total. All right, so final thoughts. As far as everyday contaminants, this stuff is crazy impressive. It's not going to stain, scratch, or fade. So as far as everyday driving goes, this stuff is far superior to paint. As far as chemicals and vandalism stuff goes, equally as impressive. One thing I did notice though, I started playing around with a lot of acetone off camera, and I dumped out about half of the bottle or half the can on this door. And I noticed that this whole section of the Line-X, it was where I was putting the acetone, it does appear to be a little bit more tacky to the touch. Not sticky, just a little tacky to the touch, versus where I didn't put the acetone. It's totally smooth and your hands just kind of glide over it. So the acetone will eventually start to damage the Line-X. So if you do get some sap or something that won't come out, a little bit of spray paint, my best advice is just use it very sparingly and get it off as quick as you possibly can with some degreaser, and you should be fine. As far as weapons go, the only thing that didn't really penetrate the Line-X was the .22 rifle. It just bounced right off. I checked the back of the door, it didn't leave any dents or dings. The 12 gauge shotgun with birdshot also didn't really do much to the actual coating, although it did dent the crap out of the metal behind it. The arrow, the archer was expecting that to go right through the door and come out the other side. A lot of other people online thought the same thing since we're using a broadhead tip. It actually penetrated the Line-X and it did a good number on the sheet metal behind, but it didn't really come out the other end. We actually had to take some channel locks and pull really hard to get those to come back out. We tried hitting them in with rocks and we couldn't get the broadhead to actually go all the way through. Other than that, every other caliber we used, the 9mm, the 40, the 223, the 5.56, and the 308, they punched right through that stuff with ease. So Line-X is definitely not bulletproof. Now, I have seen other videos on YouTube of people shooting at Line-X, and some people have had better results. But the thing is, they may have had that Line-X sprayed extra thick for that purpose, where I didn't tell Line-X what my plans were. So this is more realistic for an exterior Line-X paint job torture test. So if you guys want to see some more Line-X testing videos, drop a comment below. I may make some more. Otherwise, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Please share this video, like, and subscribe. See you guys next time.